It seems that celebrities are making mistakes so often you can't tell when a celebrity is going to do something right. Now, there are exceptions, of course. We're thinking about Jenna Ortega and Denzel Washington and others. But it's just become sort of a trope now that actors really don't have any common sense, and they struggle with making sense of the world whatsoever. They annoy average people. But the most recent modern conflict is putting celebrities in a difficult position where all of a sudden they are faced with true evil, and they actually have to, can you believe it, moderate their position and do the right thing? Hello, folks. We're doing the right thing right here on the WDW Pro channel, as always, endeavoring to explain entertainment and keep you ahead of the culture curve. No, we don't shy away from difficult situations, although sometimes we have to dance around the verbiage because of the platform in which we exist. So hang tight as we go into a very difficult conversation about what's going on over in the Middle East and the reaction from Hollywood. And yes, this does have a true impact on entertainment, and you might be surprised what Hollywood just might be thankful for as a result of all of this conflict. Strap in, hang tight. We're going to tell you what's really going on over in Southern California. This out of Variety, and you're going to notice that Pro, not because he believes in censoring his speech, but because he believes in the preservation of the channel, will probably alter some of the words in this, but you can read them. And I'll explain where we're going with this in just a moment. This is out of Variety by Elizabeth Wagmeister, who, yes, she does indeed have the greatest last name in the history of all last names. Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, and 700 Hollywood figures condemn a certain organization, demand the return of individuals who were unfairly and highly inappropriately taken. They call it the big T, and we're not saying testosterone. This is evil, and indeed it is. Here's the article. I'll read it, and then I've got a question about what we're seeing here.
I can't believe a former member of the IDF is saying that.
In a strong sign of support of Israel from Hollywood, more than 700 figures from the entertainment industry have signed an open letter to condemn a certain really naughty organization and demand the safe return of people who were dramatically mistreated and are being held in a place that is twice the size of Walt Disney World and 10 times more terrible. The letter is the first major move from the entertainment industry as Israel has been under attack, released by the nonprofit Creative Community for Peace. I feel like they're going to sing the song. Imagine not. Never mind, we'll get demonetized on that one for sure. The letter has been signed by celebrities and Hollywood leaders, including, and you can see the list there. Now, what I want everybody to look at, though, is look at the list. Everybody take a long, close at the list.
Yeah,
see if you see anybody on there who is of a conservative or moderate bent. The closest I can come for being a moderate, Jerry Seinfeld is probably not just, out in the far, far, far reaches of left field.
I would put everybody else more of a libertarian.
Ryan Bialik, too.
Yeah. But there are a lot of people here. Good point, actually, Valiant. But many of these are way out there. Here's my question for all of you, because this current world tragedy, and folks, if I make semantic faux pas, just know that I am censoring myself greatly to get past the hurdles of YouTube. So just know that. I would be far more blunt on X if you want to know what I really think about this. But I'm watching the world conflict that is facing us right now. I'm watching the horrible, horrible things that have happened. And I'm watching celebrities who had cozied up to organizations that now support the opposite side, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And I am thinking that this could be a moment where celebrities are forced to moderate their positions. Now, let me give you an example. And I don't think celebrities will do that of their own accord, because celebrities of this type tend to be vile and vitriolic and venomous and any other V word that's bad. But here's why I think they might moderate out of necessity. It is difficult to call your fellow citizens a certain bad name for people who mistreated Jewish individuals in the past, when Jewish people in the current day are being mistreated gravely by another group, right? It makes it harder to make that play any longer. And I also think that celebrities were supporting particular organizations which have come out now with parachutes in their logos. Folks, go figure that out. We can't talk about it. Go figure it out. But they've these organizations,
large mansions.
That's right, buy large mansions. They have been supportive of those who would go into the butchering business, and I'm thinking that's causing celebrities to have to separate themselves from that support now. So I wanted to go to the panel and say, it's easy for us to mock the celebrities. It's easy for us to say they were so stupid and vile and vicious towards their fellow citizens and to those they disagreed with. It's easy for us to say that. But at the same time, is this a moment where maybe in all of their density, they will come to a better place and not hate upon those who they disagree with on such a low level so that they can hate truly barbaric people? What do you guys think?
Now, the thing that I will say, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on the previous position. I think they are making the right decision this time, whether or not they're making it for the right reasons. I'm going to say I agree with their stance against
butchering.
Yes.
The butchering of the innocents. I think we can say that on YouTube.
I think that they were probably in the past. Now, I'm not forgiving the political stances that came with that organization that hoodwinked so many corporations, maybe extorted so many corporations. That had a clear line item that said that they stand against the nuclear family and the damage that it has done to the Black community. That was on their "I believe" statement. That organization, that
and by the way, what's crazy about this, to take it back to Disney, that same organization is basically why Disney did what they did with Splash Mountain.
Right.
Because they feared that they would be boycotted on Disney Plus, and they were trying to find something they could do to offer sacrifice.
And I'll say that was also a Bob Chapek announcement. He was in charge of the company at that point. Now, it had already been worked on before then, I'm sure, but it was his announcement at that time when the two of them, Bob Iger and Bob Chapek, had not quite soured. Well, maybe not. Maybe they had soured by this point.
But Jonas, do you think this is a chance for celebrities to moderate and do a mea culpa and say, you know what? The folks out there who disagree with us on small political issues, some big political issues, but they're still our neighbors.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
They're not hateful.
By that. I didn't see his name on the list, but I did see Vince Vaughn in the picture, and Vince Vaughn has often gotten a lot of flack for maybe being quiet when everyone else is speaking up, and maybe he shook hands with like Donald Trump, and people gave him a bunch of flack for that. So
great. We tried every way in the world to keep this channel going, and you dropped the orange man into the.
He is a.
Well, we're done, folks. We're done.
Okay, well, of all the words we've avoided, I felt like that one's pretty tame.
I teased. I keyed, Jonas. You're welcome to say Donald Trump.
The one that sounded like the dip. Anyways, I think I want to give slack to the people who are trying very hard to be empathetic. Now, your empathy still needs to come with some research into who you're handing over millions of dollars to, because empathy doesn't excuse your own actions. But I want to say that empathy got the best of them. These people who probably rely on a staff to decide where they're going to eat that day.
Tom, do you think that celebrities need to do more in this moment? We're looking at a situation where we've had the most Americans killed that we have seen in a very long time in a single act of violence. So, Tom, do you think celebrities need to do more, considering how shrieking they have been about other issues? And now we've got 27 Americans gone. We've got 14 more missing. And that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the loss of humanity.
Well, and it's affecting more than America too, right? Like we're seeing it. That's the thing. The indiscriminate part of this on the one side, let's say, without getting into too many specifics, is probably the most glaring thing that too many people can't avoid at this point. And I think that's where a lot of, let's say, the how do I put this? Where a lot of their opinions are finally kind of what you would say differ from what they normally would. And maybe this is the time for a lot of them to start to realize that because let me reframe this.
Because it's so evil, right? It's so evil that not even they can tickle it any longer.
Said, like, they have demonized America, they have demonized American politics and American morals and American values and everything that has to do with us and everything else, and they have tried to champion everything else in the world, and a lot of people have tried to remind them that, look, there's just as many flawed problems in every other religion or culture or background or politics, in every other part of the world, or worse in some situations. And I'm not going to get into specifics, but I think this is one of those glaring examples that people were trying to remind them of when it comes to certain factions of people, let's say, when they indiscriminately kill people without any kind of either remorse and or idea of the, let's say, the rules of war. Because I know that's really kind of an oxymoron of sorts, but there always kind of is that ground, right, where you don't cross. And then once you cross that line, it's too late to go back, and you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And I think that's where a lot of these folks are finally seeing that. And maybe, just maybe, you're right, Pro, that some of these people can kind of finally see this as an example that, maybe America isn't as bad as we've thought it was all this time. And not only that, maybe is the time to start. Maybe they need to start retreating from commenting so much. Maybe this is what's going to teach them to learn that. Oh, maybe we shouldn't comment on every political thing that comes down the road.
That sets up exactly the question I wanted to go culture with.
I'm not saying this is a stupid political thing, but I'm saying that all those little stupid things that they have said up to this point have set them up now, right?
Sure. They've presented what you're saying. They have presented their neighbors who disagree with them on various issues as the worst and most evil things in the world, and now they are confronted with evil, and now they don't know what to do. But culture, here's the big question. And Jonas was sweating, I think, in the background when he saw this topic come up. Jonas, were you a little nervous when we hopped into this one?
Yes.
Well,
I made the mistake of not reading the list. See, here's the thing. I've got a lot of opinions, and I've got a channel called Everything Woke. I've got a series called Everything Woke. So I'm more than willing to talk about this, but it's a different thing when we talk about it on the WDW Pro channel. So yeah,
I totally agree, but
I'll say that.
But watch where we go with this. Culture, here's the question for you. You are the man of the hour. The spotlight is now across your beard, and it's even more glorious because of it. Talking about the light, not your beard. Your beard was already at max glory level. But culture, how happy do you think Hollywood is right now that the SAG-AFTRA strike continues and the actors basically are shut up? Like, they're not on the carpet right now making idiotic. I mean, can you imagine? Okay, culture, can you imagine Rachel Zegler right now doing a press tour in the midst of this? And can you imagine the bullets of sweat that Hollywood execs would have knowing Rachel Zegler was loose on the carpet?
Well, I think it's bad enough that they're out on strike and saying whatever they're saying there, because it certainly didn't make any friends at the studios. But no, I think you're 100% right. The fact that they're able to not have them out there saying dumb stuff on talk shows, because I mean, that's about all actors are good for when they're not making television or film. But I mean, you've seen what colossal mistakes they can make. Look at what The Rock and Oprah did with the thing that happened in Hawaii and how that backfired magnificently. Could you imagine them trying to have a nuanced position or any level of understanding, trying to discuss something as complex as the geopolitical, conflict that erupted out of nowhere? And I don't think anybody, perhaps maybe Malik, and I cannot say her last name.
Bialik?
Yeah.
Call her Blossom.
Blossom and Gal Gadot are probably the only two people that could speak very clearly about any of that. But absent that, they have to be grateful. I know I would be. Like I said, I mean, I would cringe if I saw an employee, typing something into social media that was idiotic. So
well, I have to say, this is a very serious situation.
Yeah.
I don't know where this goes. This could turn into worldwide total conflict. We're watching to see what happens with a certain island off of China, and boy, would that have ramifications for Disney. We'll talk about it if it happens, but God forbid any of that happen. We don't want it to. We're not hoping for calamity, but calamity is here. But I have to say that in light of all of that darkness that we're seeing, and it's terribly dark, I did have to have a small grin when I read about the SAG-AFTRA studio declaration that they were no closer and they were pausing and all that. And I thought, those studio execs probably said, with what's happening in the world right now, let's just let this sit for a while and keep them all away from the cameras as much as we can. So that's one thing. Lorena, are you back? I don't know if Lorena's back. She had to step away for a moment, but if she was, I was going to get her to weigh in on the topic. Josh, I see you.
Oh yeah,
have
I'm
some
back
thoughts.
now.
But
Sorry,
Lorena,
I forgot to bring you guys.
Lorena, go ahead. Then we'll pull Josh in.
You're gonna have to repeat the question for me because I literally just got back.
Oh, good. Lorena, how happy do you think Hollywood must be that the SAG-AFTRA strike continues, considering the geopolitical conflict in the Middle East and the stupidity that might come out of celebrities' mouths? Were they actually on tours with the press and all that, doing their publicity talks?
Oh, they probably think that's a serious gift. Because if you look back, usually when, and yes, I am generalizing, when these actors have like a movie that's coming out, they're basically auditioning for their next job, which is why a lot of this crap falls out of their mouth, because they're basically signaling, hey, hire me. You should hire me. This is why I think like you, X, Y, Z. But with the strike going on, since there's nothing out there to promote and that they can't promote, a lot better. I would say they're quite happy about that. Well, yeah.
Blessing in disguise, you might say. Josh?
Exactly.
Drop another blessing upon us, Josh. What do you got?
Well, I'll try. First of all, I don't think that the world really cares about what the celebrities are saying about this absolutely horrific event, and I don't really care to hear what any of them have to say about it. That being said, I think that, first of all, no one gets any publicity, and this is extraordinarily cynical, but I'm afraid that it's realistic, that no one gets any publicity for saying the right thing. They only get publicity for saying the controversial thing. And at this point, with celebrities, with politicians, with various public entities, the only way that you're going to get headlines right now for yourself is going to be saying something that is basically at this point abhorrent. I mean, there's no other way that you could. There's no other way that you're going to do that. Anyone who says I stand with Israel, which we do. I mean, good God, my name is Josh.
Don't say the next one, Josh. I know you're a little bit new on YouTube, but don't say the next organization.
Understood. Yes, yeah. But it's they're not. You're not going to get credit for saying any of those things. You're only going to get publicity if you're going to say something that is massively controversial.
Right. If you want to join with the hoodwinked Harvard future graduates of America, the geniuses over there.
Yeah, and I've been following that one as well. And did you see the thing with the digital bus that is outing every single one of them? That's glorious.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and the other thing that I would say about that one is I would kind of go in the reverse order on this one and slightly disagree with Lorena about it. That I actually think that it's enormously problematic for these people to be out of work because they have nothing to do but spew enormously idiotic statements online all day long. They need to go back to work so that we don't have to hear what their dumb opinions are on anything. So I think that it's actually detrimental to the stars, to their contract, to Hollywood, that these people are not bogged down in their own work right now instead of trying to self-promote themselves, which almost never works.
Let it be said too, before Jonas hops in, let it be said too that not all actors, not all people on screen are imbeciles or stupid or unlearned, but there are enough who make the headlines that I think
most of them.
Yeah, it's just perhaps most of them, but there are some who are tremendously wise and knowledgeable. I think of Denzel Washington, for example. I tend to be amazed with what he has to say in his interviews. But
yeah,
real quick, and they're going to go ahead.
Sorry, I was trying to force the show along, but I did get a helpful note from a viewer who I'm going to assume wants to remain nameless, saying, "Nope, Jerry Seinfeld is not a moderate."
Right. I don't think he's a moderate. I just didn't think he was out in how do we say this without being offensive? I didn't think he was out in cray-cray land.
I was going to say he may not be a moderate, but he's not an idiot.
Right. I didn't think he was in the fringe. Now, Larry David, on the other hand, I think is really.
Oh yeah, he's wackadoodle-doo.
Yeah. Real quick though, we'll toss this in before we go to super chats. I just want to say this, since we talked about SAG-AFTRA being suspended, or the Hollywood strike continuing. Out of NBC News, negotiations between SAG-AFTRA and studios are suspended. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers said Wednesday that conversations are no longer moving us in a productive direction. This came out today, folks. So this is we're on pause again. So for those of you who thought that once the writer's strike was over, we were going back to work, no, ain't happening. And the longer this thing goes on, the more unlikely it is that 2024 is going to be any less than a bloodbath for the entertainment industry. This is going to wipe out a ton of mid-level companies, big companies, even, as we're not gonna have anything. We're not gonna have anything to show. I guess T-Swift is gonna have to continue dating quarterbacks and giving us all kinds of movie experiences. Heck, maybe Nickelback will have to get in there after the quarterback star is done.
I would say
negotiations.
We need a hero to save us. Yes,
that's right. Negotiations between that was well.
I don't know. There may be some bad blood.
But no, we
can't even do this. They're so good at the puns. Great references, guys. But folks,
I'm sorry.
Darn it! How can you do that quickly? But I just paused to give them a chance, folks. They're done. They're done now.
So super chats, Ministry of Wrong Things for $10.
Go ahead. We'll knock out the super chats, but folks, make sure to go read the article. This is what we're referencing when we're saying that Hollywood may be actually happy. The studios may be happy that the celebrities are not talking. There are many out there who are learned. There's probably many more who are not and don't need to be talking right now, probably lest they damage whatever product, whatever creative endeavor they're on. Jonas, super chats. That is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Took this in a place I bet many of you did not think that we would go, but go there we went. Also, let's extend apologies too. During this conversation, we had to say things in ways that we would not if we were just speaking freely. We would be much more blunt, forthright, and all of those things that we would prefer to be. But we understand where we are, and we understand that in order to say the things that we need to say, we have to dance. We don't want to do the dance, but dance we must. It's better to do the dance and still be truthful as best we can than to go silent. We need to be a voice out there taking on difficult conversations when they intersect with entertainment, and we need to be brave enough to do so. Folks, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. We would love to know what you think. And you know what? Because of the platform, you don't have to dance. You can just be forthright and truthful. Although we do say, folks, remember humanity. Because as we tackled this challenging conversation, one of the things that we must never forget is the humanity. The evildoers, they forget it. We don't. And we hope that you won't either. Remember that every single person is divinely valuable, even when they choose to do supremely wrong things. All right, folks, this is an end to the conversation. Drop a comment down below, and wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.